A small business owner receives an order from overseas. The buyer is polite, professional, and calm. The invoice is clean. The amount is not a fortune, but it is big enough to matter. The seller feels that familiar mix of hope and fear that every honest entrepreneur knows. The buyer asks for bank details. The seller sends them. The buyer replies quickly and says the transfer has been sent. Then a PDF arrives. At the top of the page are words that feel like authority itself. MT103. Swift. Payment confirmation. The seller doesn't fully understand the document, but that is exactly why it feels powerful. It is filled with codes, reference numbers, bank identifiers, and structured sections that look too official to fake. He forwards it to his staff and says, "We are good. Prepare the shipment." 2 days later, the money still isn't in the account. He checks again. Nothing. He calls the bank. The bank says something that feels impossible. They don't see any incoming transfer. And that is where the real story begins. My name is Sethtra, and today I want to open a case file with you. Not a conspiracy. Not a dramatic scam story. A real payment lesson. Because once you understand what an MT103 really is, you will never treat proof of payment the same way again. This is one of the most expensive misunderstandings in global trade. It destroys exporters, online sellers, service providers, and even property deals. Not because people are stupid, but because the payment system is designed to be invisible to normal people. So let's treat this like a case file. We will not guess. We will not panic. We will reconstruct the timeline, and then we will expose the system behind the document. The first thing you must understand is simple, but it changes everything. Swift is not money. Swift is messaging. It is the world's most trusted messaging system for banks to talk to each other. People hear the phrase Swift transfer and assume Swift is the pipeline where money flows. That is not true. Swift is closer to a global language, a standardized format, a secure way banks send payment instructions. So if Swift is messaging, what is MT103? MT103 is a specific Swift message type. It is used for customer credit transfers. In plain language, it is the message a bank sends when it wants to instruct a payment from one customer to another customer across borders. That sounds like proof, right? But here is the first uncomfortable truth. A message is not the same as settlement. A message can exist without money arriving. And a message can even be forged in appearance outside the banking system. This is why the case file matters. Because the victim in our story didn't lose money because Swift failed. The victim lost money because he confused a message with a completed transfer. Now let's reconstruct what happened. The buyer sent an MT103 document as a PDF. The seller assumed it meant the transfer was completed. The seller shipped goods. The seller waited. The buyer kept reassuring him with calm phrases like, "International transfers take time. It will arrive. Your bank is slow. Please wait 24 hours. Please wait 48 hours. The buyer disappeared. At this point, most people ask the same question. If MT103 is real, why didn't the bank see it? Because the seller's bank cannot verify a random PDF. The seller's bank can only verify actual incoming funds. And the seller's bank can only confirm an MT103 if it was actually received through the Swift network into their system. So here is the second uncomfortable truth. An MT103 is not designed to be a receipt for customers. It is designed to be a message between banks. The public has turned it into a receipt because scammers and trade misunderstandings have trained people to treat it that way. Now, if you're watching this and you're not a banker, you might be thinking, then why do people send MT103s at all? They send it because it can be useful. In real trade, real businesses sometimes request MT103 details to track payment references, confirm that an instruction was sent, and follow up when delays happen. But the problem is not the MT103 itself. The problem is what people think it proves. So let's define the difference clearly, like a banker. An MT103 proves that a bank claims it issued an instruction. It does not prove that the receiver has received the funds. It does not prove that the transfer is irreversible. It does not prove that the payment will complete. And it definitely does not prove that the PDF you received is authentic. Now I want you to understand why this misunderstanding happens so easily. Because MT103 looks like authority. It contains bank codes. It contains reference numbers. It contains dates. It contains currency and amount. It contains sender and receiver details. And most importantly, it looks like it came from a secure network. But a PDF is not a secure network. A PDF is just a file. So here is the key question. How can a normal business owner know whether an MT103 is real? The answer is brutal but simple. You can't verify it by looking at it. You verify money by seeing cleared funds in your account. That is the only proof that matters. Now, let's go deeper into the payment system itself, because this is where most people become powerful. A cross-border payment has layers, and those layers matter more than any document. Layer 1 is the instruction. That's where MT103 lives. Layer 2 is the processing. That's where correspondent banks, compliance checks, and routing can slow things down. Layer 3 is the posting. That's where your bank actually credits your account. Layer 4 is settlement finality. That's where the payment becomes legally complete in the system. Most people live their entire life believing there is only one layer: send and receive. But the real system has layers, and scammers make money inside those layers. Now let's make this extremely clear with a simple analogy. Imagine you order food delivery. You receive a message that says, "The restaurant has accepted your order." Does that mean the food is in your hands? No. It means the restaurant has acknowledged the instruction. Now imagine you receive a screenshot of that message from a stranger. Does it mean anything? No. It's just a screenshot. MT103 is like that. It is a structured acknowledgement of an instruction, not the final delivery. Now, let's look at the most common sentence that destroys victims. The buyer says, "I already sent the payment. Here is the MT103. Please ship." This sentence is not banking. It is pressure. In professional trade, the correct process is simple. You ship when you have cleared funds, or you ship under secured instruments like letters of credit, escrow, or verified trade finance structures. MT103 is not a secured instrument. It is a message format. Now, you might be wondering, what about Swift GPI? This is where modern banking adds another layer. Swift GPI is a tracking framework. It creates transparency for banks to track where the instruction is in the chain. It uses unique identifiers like UETR to trace the payment. And yes, that is real. But again, the public confuses tracking with guarantee. Tracking is not guarantee. Tracking is visibility. So if someone says, "I have GPI tracking," you should understand what that means. It means a bank can trace a payment in the Swift chain. It does not mean the payment is real. It does not mean the funds will arrive. And it certainly does not mean the PDF someone sent you is authentic. Now, let's get semi-technical, but I'll keep it simple. A real MT103 message includes structured fields. It has a sender reference. It has a value date. It has currency and amount. It has ordering customer details. It has beneficiary details. It has remittance information. It has bank identifiers. This structure is why it is so easy to fake, because scammers don't need to hack Swift. They just need to copy the template. If you have ever seen one MT103, you can design something that looks like it. And that's why MT103 scams are so effective. They don't attack technology. They attack psychology. They attack the human brain's relationship with authority, because the brain sees codes and assumes truth. Now let's return to our case file. The seller shipped goods. The money never arrived. The seller called the bank. The bank said, "We don't see anything incoming." The seller then sends the MT103 PDF to the bank officer and says, "But look, this is proof." And the bank officer says something that breaks the seller emotionally. "This document does not confirm you will receive funds. This document does not exist in our system. And if it does not exist in our system, it is not real to us." This is the moment most victims realize something painful. They were not scammed by a genius hacker. They were scammed by a professional liar who understood the gap between banking reality and customer belief. Now let's answer the most important question. Can a real MT103 exist, but the money still not arrive? Yes. And this is where Sethtra Academy becomes valuable. Because I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to teach you the system. A real MT103 can exist, but payment can still fail due to compliance blocks, incorrect beneficiary details, intermediary bank issues, sanction screening, missing information, or rejected transfers. The message can be sent, but the payment can still be stopped. So the correct mindset is not, MT103 equals money. The correct mindset is MT103 equals an instruction in motion. Now let's talk about the three statuses that confuse the world. Sent, received, settled. Sent means the sender bank claims it issued the instruction. Received means the receiver bank has received the instruction into its system. Settled means the funds have been posted and credited. Most people confuse sent with settled. That is the entire fraud gap. Now, let's go even deeper, because I want you to have a mental model you can carry for life. In banking, money is not a physical object traveling. Money is ledger updates across institutions. So a payment is real only when the ledgers update. Not when a message is printed. Not when a PDF is sent. Not when a reference number is shown. Ledger updates are truth. Everything else is storytelling. This is why scammers love payment systems. Because the system is built for banks, not for customers. Customers see shadows. Banks see ledgers. Now, here's the part most people never realize until they lose money. When you receive an MT103 PDF from a buyer, you are not receiving a bank message. You are receiving a buyer's claim. It's like someone telling you, "I paid you, trust me." The MT103 PDF is the costume. The claim is the real thing. So what should you do in real life? The rule is simple, but it is the most powerful rule in international business. Never ship based on an MT103. Ship only after cleared funds appear in your account. If you want to be even safer, you request payment methods that include stronger verification like letters of credit, escrow, or trusted trade platforms. Now, I know some people will say, but that will lose customers. Let me tell you something as a business educator. The customers you lose because you require cleared funds are not customers. They are risks. Now let's talk about why this misunderstanding is exploding globally. Because global trade is faster. Digital invoices are easier. PDFs look official. And people are exhausted. They want deals to close. Scammers understand that exhaustion. They weaponize urgency. They weaponize trust. They weaponize the desire to move forward. Now, here is one of the most important sentences you can learn. In global payments, proof of payment is not proof of receipt. That sentence alone can save you thousands. Because a payment system is not a promise. It is a process. Now, let's look at one more layer that confuses people. Some scammers do not even use MT103. They use fake bank transfer receipts. They use screenshots of pending transfers. They use fake bank emails. But MT103 is the most powerful because it has international authority. It sounds like a secret banker document. Now let's make the truth painfully clear. MT103 is not a customer receipt. MT103 is a bank message type. A bank message type can be forged in appearance. The only proof is cleared funds. If you remember only one thing from this video, remember that. Now, I want to give you a short checklist you can use in real life, and I want you to treat it like a professional rule. If someone sends you an MT103, do not argue. Do not accuse. Do not panic. Just reply calmly that you will release goods once cleared funds appear. If they become emotional, that is information. If they become pushy, that is information. If they start blaming banks, that is information. If they disappear, that is information. Now, let's close the case file with the final lesson. The seller in our story didn't lose money because he was careless. He lost money because he didn't know the system has layers. And the moment you understand layers, you become much harder to manipulate. Because you stop believing in documents. You start believing in verification. You stop believing in sent. You start believing in cleared. And that is the difference between a business that survives and a business that gets destroyed quietly. Now, in the next episode, I'm going to show you the scam version. How criminals create the MT103 illusion, how they stall you with professional language, how they pressure you to ship, and how they disappear at the exact moment you realize the truth. Because once you understand both sides, the system side and the criminal side, you become almost impossible to fool. And that is what Sethtra Academy is about.